Thank you, Linda. So good evening, everyone. Welcome to CP3 Land Use Committee meeting for Tuesday, June 15, 2021. We are doing this meeting through Zoom tonight, and our Vice Chair, Linda, is managing the Zoom platform, and she's going to give a brief introduction about Zoom functions and some guidelines. Linda?
Okay. First of all, please stay muted unless you're speaking, because we always get background noise and it's disturbing to everyone. Secondly, I think you all know how to raise your hands. There have been a lot of changes to the client of Zoom. So my client says reactions, and if I click reactions, I see raise hand as one of the options on the bottom of the toolbar. Some other people will see raise hand directly on their toolbar. And some people who have a really old client might still see it on the bottom of the participant list. Probably most of you have moved beyond that. So if you want to speak, raise your hand. If you're not speaking, stay muted. And that's about it.
Thank you, Linda. And for those non-CP3 members, please use the chat box to type in your credential, your name and your credentials, so we can keep a record of our attendees tonight. Thank you about that. But I don't think Linda mentioned that before, other than asking technical questions or using the chat box for sign in. Please do not use the chat box to talk about your opinions or ask other questions, because that is forbidden. It's a policy with CP3. First, Lisa, can you take a roll call? Can you do a roll call to take attendance, please? Lisa, yes. You are muted.
Yes, I'm aware of that, yeah. Sure. Jackie Wong?
Yeah.
Okay. Linda Jones?
Yes.
Linda, Michael Perlis?
Yes. Hi.
Jonathan Chu? No, Jonathan. Herman Hewitt?
Here.
Trevor Holland?
Not here.
And I'm here, Lisa Kaplan. Olympia Kazi?
Not here.
Damaris Reyes?
Not here.
Troy Velez?
Not here.
Steve Herrick?
I'm here.
Great, thank you. That's the roll call.
Thank you, Lisa. So tonight, our first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes for our May meeting. And let me know if anyone has problem with our May minutes, or we just approve it. Okay, I see no problem. So the minutes is approved. Our second item on the agenda is Citywide Text Amendment on health and fitness. This is about easing the regulatory barriers for gyms, spas, and etc. And I do remember, I think previously, I'm talking about, I think 2 years ago, we decided that we were merely a rubber stamp on these gym applications. So we would simply give them some administrative approvals. I also sent you a previous email conversation as a reminder of that. But one thing committee members have to pay attention for tonight is that I think the text amendment would allow massage parlors or spas to be considered medical facilities, which means that they can be an eligible use of space built with community facility zoning bonus in the future. So I think that is something Matthew, I think if I'm wrong, correct me later. But I think that's something we have to pay attention to. Matthew, are you going to do the presentation, or somebody else from DCP going to do the presentation?
Yeah, my colleague Andy is actually the lead on the PCE text, and so he's going to talk through that. So Andy's one of our planners in the Manhattan office, and so he'll guide you through, and I'll be here to answer any questions about CB3, but he's really the expert on the proposal.
Thank you, Matthew. And Andy, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thanks everybody for having me. My name's Andy Kanthu. I'm a planner with the Manhattan office. I'm one of Matt's colleagues, and I will hopefully share my screen. It says host disabled participant screen sharing. Do you think you can share it, Jackie?
Yes. Linda is gonna give you
I
the,
just made you co-host. You should be able to do so now.
Perfect. Can everyone see my screen?
yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. So I am here to present our proposal, the city's proposal for a citywide text amendment to allow health and fitness facilities like gyms and spas as of right in more areas of the city. And the purpose of this text amendment is really to provide health-related amenities to more communities and hopefully cut red tape for small businesses, especially during this really critical post-pandemic economic recovery period. So as most of you know, hopefully, in order to operate a gym, a spa, or a licensed massage therapy studio, and a range of other health and fitness facilities in the city, you have to first obtain a special permit from the Board of Standards and Appeals, or the BSA. And all of these uses fall under the umbrella term of physical culture or health establishments, or PCEs. So I'll be using that term for the rest of the presentation. There are a few limited areas of the city, mostly special districts, where you can open a PCE without obtaining a special permit, but in most cases, a special permit is required. And even if businesses wanted to apply for a special permit, they aren't allowed along most local commercial streets, including areas where we allow other local retail and service uses like grocery stores. So for example, the C1 commercial overlays along the avenues in the East Village, businesses aren't even eligible to apply for a special permit, much less get permission to operate. And even when they are eligible, the process of obtaining a special permit is extremely costly, extremely time consuming for businesses. And these businesses have been really hurt significantly by the pandemic. And we want to make sure that they have the ability to open and meet the growing neighborhood demand for health-related amenities. And these health and fitness facilities impacted by the proposal include a range of activities that we're all really familiar with. You know, you have your larger commercial gyms like Blink or Planet Fitness or New York sports clubs, and also your smaller, more independent gyms that exist across the city. You've got studios like martial arts, yoga, aerobics, things like that, and a range of therapeutic and wellness businesses like spas and licensed massage therapy. So how did these rules come about in the first place, and why are PCEs regulated differently from pretty much every other local retail and service use across the city? So during the 1970s, in response to concerns about commercial sex within quote unquote massage parlors or health clubs, the special permit was created that requires most health and fitness related businesses to undergo criminal background checks from the Department of Investigations before actually receiving approval to operate. And at the time this was created, New York really didn't have the wide range of commercial gyms and fitness facilities that we're, you know, really familiar with. Gyms were sort of a niche activity, whereas now they're ubiquitous, and you know, millions of us go to gyms and spas regularly. You know, there were some large nonprofit health clubs like the Y and community centers that offered exercise classes, but it was never really anticipated that thousands of overwhelmingly legitimate businesses like martial arts and Pilates and rock climbing gyms and cycling studios would need to get special permits to operate. Obviously, things have changed significantly over the past 40 plus years since the special permit was created. For one, there's been a significant growth of the health and fitness industry and the desire for communities to access these amenities. And we found that these businesses are overwhelmingly very legitimate and valued by the communities where they're located. And regulations, especially around massage therapy, have changed. So massage therapists are licensed health professionals by the New York State Education Department, and a registry of all licensed massage therapists is publicly available online. But like I mentioned, these businesses continue to be uniquely regulated through zoning, placing significant burdens on small businesses. And the special permit typically takes at least 6 months to be granted and often costs between $30,000 and $50,000 in fees to architects and attorneys and city planning. And in addition, the special permit, like I said, isn't applicable in most C1 districts, meaning that gyms and spas and massage therapy aren't allowed in locations where we allow retail and commercial uses like restaurants and laundromats. And finally, in a time where vacancy rates are really high along some retail streets, we want to ensure that our zoning regulations allow for diversity of businesses to occupy storefronts, which in turn helps activate corridors and makes them much safer and more vibrant. I'm going to skip this. And this proposal is really consistent with recommendations from major strategic plans that the city's developed over the past couple of years, like One NYC, the Small Business First reports. And over the past couple of years, the special permit requirements largely been removed as part of neighborhood-wide rezonings. And this proposal is really just expanding that policy citywide. So what exactly are we proposing? DCP is proposing to remove the BSA special permit for all gyms, spas, and licensed massage therapy studios. Gyms and spas would be considered commercial uses that would be allowed as of right. Smaller gyms and spas, those less than 10,000 square feet, would be classified as a use group 6 use and allowed in all commercial and manufacturing districts, including C1 districts where gyms are currently not allowed as of right. Gyms and spas over 10,000 square feet would be classified as a use group 9 use, and there'd be slightly more limited in geography, so C2 commercial districts and higher, and all manufacturing districts. They'd also be allowed in the highest density C1 districts, C18 and C19. I don't think there are any of those in Community District 3. And this distinction between smaller uses under 10,000 square feet and those larger than 10,000 square feet is really consistent with other commercial uses are treated in zoning like clothing stores. Licensed massage therapy will be treated in the same way as other outpatient medical uses and will be categorized as either a use group 4 ambulatory healthcare, which is a community facility use, or use group 6 healthcare offices like the doctor's office, which is a commercial use. And this will allow licensed massage therapy studios as community facilities in most residence districts, as well as commercial manufacturing districts. And just to be clear, because I've gotten this question a lot, massage is still illegal to practice without a license. and unlicensed massage will continue to be disallowed anywhere in the city, according to the proposed zoning. Although we've heard overwhelmingly support for this proposal from a lot of communities, sometimes, when reviewing BSA applications, it does raise the issue of possible nuisances like noise and vibration from gyms, and the BSA occasionally imposes conditions on permits. So to continue to address the concerns, the proposal would also include additional performance standards for noise and vibration. And performance standards are a very common mechanism that are used primarily in manufacturing districts to make sure that things like noise and vibration, fumes, radiation, things like that are kept under a maximum threshold. A subset of higher impact gyms will need to have an acoustical engineer certify with the Department of Buildings that the facility is designed to meet those performance standards before they can receive a certificate of occupancy or a C of O. And these provisions will apply to mixed use buildings in commercial and MX districts. Lower impact facilities like yoga, isometric exercise, and therapeutic services like spas won't need to demonstrate compliance with those noise and vibration standards, but will still be subject to the New York City Noise Code. So what does this mean for Community District 3? So on this map, which is just looking at gyms and spas under 10,000 square feet, the areas in orange or peach, or whatever that is, are districts where a BSA special permit is currently required, and where under this proposal, gyms and spas under 10,000 square feet will be allowed as of right. And in the purple, you have districts where gyms and spas are currently not allowed under any circumstances, and they will be allowed as of right there as well. So basically anywhere where there's orange or purple are where gyms smaller than 10,000 square feet will be allowed as of right. And here we have areas where gyms and spas over 10,000 square feet will be allowed as of right. And that's really, all of those districts, C2 and higher, and manufacturing districts. And this are areas where therapeutic massage studios are going to be allowed as of right. And like I said, it's pretty much everywhere. Licensed massage therapy is going to be regulated in the exact same way that community facilities like ambulatory or outpatient medical facilities are going to be treated. So just like a doctor's office can be, in a residential district, that's going to be the same way that licensed therapeutic massage is going to be treated. And so the application was certified on May 19th, and the community board has until July 27th to submit your recommendation. And we're tentatively scheduled for a public hearing in August and a likely vote in September, and hopefully full approval by November. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Andy. Andy, I just have a question that has been in my mind for a long time. I'm curious, what is the reasoning DCP treats the massage therapies as a ambulatory healthcare use, like a medical office, and not like the same type of use as gym and spa? Like, what is the reasoning for that?
The reason is really that, we think that these uses sort of behave exactly like a doctor's office or something similar. So we think they should be treated as such.
Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah, can I just ask, how is spa defined, and how would we be clear that a spa is a legit spa and not a sex facility or whatever? Like, yeah, what's the control there?
Yeah, I understand. So, you know, in the city of New York, commercial sex is still illegal. So that's sort of the criminal aspect. So, you know,
But what is a spa? You know what I'm saying? I don't really know what a spa is. What's the, like, could someone slip in under the spa definition?
So no, this is the short answer. Someone couldn't slip under the definition of a spa. By spa, do you mean a licensed massage therapy, or do you mean?
I mean a spa. All of this says gyms and spas. I know what a gym is, but I think a spa is like not a clear, you know, to me anyway. Maybe I'm missing something, but I don't think so. I don't know what a spa is.
Yeah, that's understandable. Let me get back to you, because I do think that it is a little bit vague. That's true. So let me get back to you on what the exact definition of a spa is under the proposed zoning.
Okay, thank you.
I will just add there that the zoning text usually provides definitions of use groups, but then they're pretty short. If you've read the text, there's usually one sentence or a little bit more maybe. But the ultimate definition of what constitutes a spa or any other type of use is up to DOB. And so these are like the spa that's, I believe there's one, like the baths would be probably considered a spa, the Russian baths, but then you kind of have these nebulous things where, well, does it need to have a wet portion of the spa or a dry portion? Can it have a mix of both? And so ultimately it's going to be up to buildings to decide what that is. We'll of course provide guidance where it is, but the text is not going to really define you need X amount of space of a sauna to constitute a spa or use eucalyptus or something like that. So it's gonna be fairly broad in that definition, but it's kind of a use groups oftentimes are, you know it when you see it, and that's kind of going to be the case here. But again, as Andy was saying, it's the unlicensed is really seems to be the concern, and that's still illegal. That's still not something that zoning allows, and that's really an enforcement thing. And just so Andy is aware, there was that issue came to light on 10th Street a couple of years ago, where there was unlicensed massage that was eventually cracked down on. And so it is very much a real thing that did occur in this community. So the concerns that you're raising are understandable.
Yeah, and I'm old enough to remember when bathhouses were a big issue in the neighborhood, and they weren't, you know, they did spread AIDS in a way that was really a problem for the neighborhood. So, you know, I am a little concerned about that loophole, to be honest.
Any other questions? I guess like one of the concern I have, I mean, I feel like it is fine to cut the red tapes for gym and spa, like in terms of like doing business. But like Lisa said, sometimes I don't know what's the difference between a spa and a massage parlor, and because their service seems to be like overlapping and difficult to define. And I I'm trying to imagine in the future, like when you have a building that is using the community facility bonus to build the building, and then you have a spa that has a massage license, and they're going to charge market rate, but then they become a market rate service, but then they become a legit use of this community facilities. I just don't know how is that going to look like, or how am I going to feel about that? So that's just a little feeling about it. I mean, I don't have a position on that, but just a little thought.
Could I say something, Jackie?
Sure, Herman.
Yeah, I've been to spas, legitimate ones, of course. It's usually a commercial establishment, right? And it's supposed to be, the service is supposed to promote health and beauty treatments. It does have massage, but it also have body scrubs, facials. But how do you know when, my thing is, those things also could be legitimate in the beginning and then morphed into something else. So I think maybe it would need constant inspection from the health department for them to live up to that situation. They have steam baths, exercise equipment, saunas. Some of them these days have health food, health restaurants in them and stuff like that. So, and not like the ones I used to see in and around 42nd Street or Avenue of Americas.
Thank you, Herman. I don't know if DCP folks want to respond to our comments.
Yeah, so good question. Again, licensed massage therapy is something that's regulated by the New York Department of Education. So, yeah, so, there's both a civil remedy and a criminal remedy for what you mentioned, which is, unlicensed massage therapy. And again, this is something that's regulated by the Department of Buildings. And so I think there's, several ways where, these things are regulated. There's several layers.
Thank you, Andy. Linda, I thought you could not raise hand because you are a Zoom host. You are muted.
That rule changed. Zoom hosts can raise their hands now.
Oh.
Hey, small bit of progress, right? Yeah, so I think we got into an interesting area of definition. When something is a spa and you say that's the same as a licensed massage therapy, am I right, Andy?
So there's a distinction between licensed massage therapy and a spa. And
what can a spa do?
A spa is something like, a sauna, or something that offers baths or facials or nail salons, things like that.
Okay, so I'm thinking that that's not a medical facility, correct? If it's doing more than massage therapy.
A spa under the proposed zoning is not a medical facility. Okay. But a licensed massage therapy is this functionally the same thing as a medical facility, like a doctor's office.
Gotcha. Okay, so they should be regulated differently, I suppose. So is a spa more like a gym then, in terms of what kind of permits it gets and where it can be located?
Exactly.
Okay.
A spa is similar to a gym.
Okay, thank you. That helps a lot. I think this is, my personal opinion, pretty well thought out. You know, we in the community board a few years ago decided that we were kind of a rubber stamp for these things when they finally came to us, you know, because there was no problems anymore. So I think it's welcome that you've made it easier.
Thank you, Linda. Any other questions or comments about this plan? If no, thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Andy, for coming to our meeting tonight and presented the text amendment. I think this is a very interesting text amendment. I think we going to talk about it to see what we want to do about it. So, but tonight our goal is just to understand this text amendment, and we will decide if we want to take a position on this plan, and if yes, then we will vote on a resolution in July. And thank you guys for joining us tonight. Oh, Lisa, you have a hand?
Yeah, that's interesting. I can't see that I have a hand, but I'm glad you can.
You do.
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate, there's a few people in this meeting whose names I don't recognize. If they could identify themselves in the chat, it would be helpful so I can record it in the minutes. That's Danaline, Elsie. I have Jeanette as being a member of CB3. John, if you could identify yourself. Canal is a member of CB3. And Tunisia, please, if you'd identify yourself. Thank you.
So they should identify themselves by putting it in the chat, right?
Correct.
Yes. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you. So our next item is about the hotel text amendment. So Lisa, can you, Linda, you may have to give Lisa the co-host power.
Go for it, Lisa.
Lisa, can you pull up the draft?
I think I can.
Okay.
Select a window you want to share. Well, this one, I guess. Is that showing up for you?
Nope.
No, we're seeing your email.
Private
Oh.
email, which you should not.
Okay. How about this?
Can you scroll down, please?
Yes.
Let me see, not this one. I sent you a updated version. Let me see. I sent you an updated version. What time did I send? 5:19. Can you take a look at that one, please?
Sorry.
That's okay. Do you want me to resend you?
No. Oh, I think that. Is this it?
Can you scroll down? Because I like the 3 paragraphs. So if you scroll down, I can recognize that.
This?
I think your screen is frozen, isn't it? It's not moving at all. I changed the file name to version number 2. So maybe I should resend.
Oh, wait.
Oh, right. There you go.
Sorry. Yeah,
It's okay.
there.
Let me see.
You want me to scroll down?
Yeah, so this is the draft I sent to you yesterday, but I made a little bit of rearrangement at 2 points, and they are highlighted. And I mean, let me see what I should do. So the reason, so let me go through the highlighted paragraphs with you. The first highlight is that according to the New York City hotels market analysis conducted by DCP, if temporarily closed hotels become permanently closed, hotel room demand would exceed supply starting 2025. This is the information I found from the report. So I feel like I want to add this to the result, because the second whereas talk about 2035, but then the problem actually start to show up starting 2025. So I want to add this to it. I want to know if you guys have a problem with it. And if not, Lisa, can you actually move this point like one whereas to one whereas clause above? Just flow better, like move the whole paragraph, move the highlight paragraph above the one before it.
Oh, Lisa, you need to enable editing. See that up at top?
Oh, yeah, got it. Sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Yep. And then if you could scroll down. I drafted 2 comments. The first comment is that this plan will have a short-term benefit for existing hotels to endure the economic downturn created by COVID-19 pandemic. However, DCP should conduct periodic review every 5 years, starting 2025, to adopt new policy to mitigate the negative socioeconomic impact created by this text amendment on the hotel industry and protect the jobs and protect the jobs associated. I think the point is that since as we are going to see a demand exceed supply starting 2025, so I just feel like the city should do this periodic review to make sure that the job loss can be the expected job loss can be saved. And I just want to add this point to the rest. So as a comment or whatever it is. Are you guys okay with it?
I'm a little confused by it.
Okay.
If we're saying that this zoning, this text amendment would help the industry, why are we saying that they should reevaluate it every 5 years to see if they need to mitigate the socioeconomic impact of it?
The reason is because this text amendment would benefit the existing hotel, the current hotels. However, it would make it more difficult for new hotels to be built in the future. So that when it reached 2013, it would actually have this socioeconomic impact described as the last whereas clause that would lose that we will lose 20,000 jobs because of less hotel is built in the future. However, for short term, like right now, so I think that there's a conflict of there is a competing interest here. The competing interest is like the current hotels versus the hotel in the future. That's what I see in this text amendment. So that and then we will see because we are not building as many hotels in the future. Then starting 2025, we will see the demand for hotel rooms exceed the supply of hotel rooms. And I feel like that would be the time to start reviewing this text amendment, because we are already in 2021. So I think if we support this plan, it will make sense. Or we just give comment. If the plan goes through, then we want them to take a look at this plan like a couple years later to see if it's still applicable. I mean, good for the society or economy in the future. But that's or maybe you want to change the wordings.
Well, I guess my concern is I've never thought of a text amendment as being something that would be modified on a regular basis. So if we're saying that this needs to be reconsidered every 5 years, I'm not sure how practical that is.
We are telling them to adopt new policy to support the industry. It's not really about like telling them to modify the text amendment. If the language give you that perception, maybe you can change the language, modify the language a little bit. I mean, my goal is that I think my point is that starting 2025, they should take a look at the industry and then to see what other policy they can do to support the industry and save that jobs could be lost.
Well, if that's what you're talking about, then I'm not sure it's DCP that should do that. Maybe it's the Economic Development Corporation that should do
Well, we
that.
could just say the city.
Yeah.
We could just
Yeah,
say
and
the city.
Yeah, and I think we should be clear that we're not talking about revisions to the text amendment. Anyway.
I'm okay with that. If you want to have the language to edit it, that was fine. Do you want to propose any change?
I guess you know what my gut is, so maybe I should for once keep my mouth shut, but I don't want to take a position on this zoning text amendment at all. I don't have any real interest in it or feel like it's something that we need to weigh in on. So I would rather do nothing, to be honest with you. That's
Linda? Thank you, Lisa. Linda, you are muted.
Yeah, I don't know quite what I think about this, Lisa. You make an interesting point that maybe we don't have to have an opinion. I don't see why we need your paragraph, Jackie, because it seems to me that they could just approve more permits if more hotel rooms are needed. It shouldn't be a problem at all.
Right now, I think what they are trying to do is that they are trying to limit. Oh, so you are saying that the new policy, we should not, because they can do other new policy without our input. Is that what you meant?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They can figure this out. I sort of like the idea of some sort of control of where hotels can go. Living in a neighborhood where they're going up like crazy, and I don't understand why. So.
Other committee members have any thoughts? Okay, so so both of you don't want to see this paragraph, is that right?
I'd rather not have that paragraph.
Okay, all right, so let's go back to this later, I guess. Then we go to the next, because we only have 2 paragraphs. It should not take us too much time. We go to the second paragraph, Lisa. So the second paragraph is that the significant unmet demand for hotel room may incentivize more illegal short-term rentals such as Airbnb, which will remove housing units from the city's rental market and put upward pressure on housing costs. The city should step up efforts to enforce the regulations on illegal short-term rental. You guys have any thought on that?
What it says, which will remove residential housing units. We're talking about residential housing, not long-term care housing or something like that, right? We're talking about
regular residential.
But I think it should say residential housing unit.
Residential housing unit.
Yeah, because that's what we're talking about, right? Residential.
Okay.
Are all housing units residential?
There are so many type of housing units around, which we should specify which ones we're talking about.
Steve, let's go to Steve and then Linda and Michael.
Well, I agree with the statement. I mean, it's definitely concerned that if there is a shortage of hotel rooms, there'll be, hotel rates will go up, and there'll be more people looking for other alternatives, and there'll be, some unscrupulous operators trying to rent out apartments through Airbnb, and we've certainly been fighting that in the neighborhood. But there is city legislation that's being considered to, deal with illegal hotel operators. So, we certainly support efforts to have stronger regulations around illegal short-term rentals. So, the question of whether we're actually going to adopt a resolution or not around this issue, I guess. But I mean, I agree with the statement.
Okay, and Michael? I'm sorry, Linda. I'm sorry, Michael.
Oh, just quickly, I agree with Steve. This is something they should do anyway. It doesn't, right now, because illegal short-term rentals are a problem and they already are taking housing off the market. So I don't mind this being in here, but it's generally something that needs to happen.
I guess that, like, when we were discussing this, is that it's a response to this. I guess it's a response to this text amendment, and we were thinking about what is needed, and we just feel like that could happen in the future, and maybe we need to ask the city to step up on the enforcement on the illegal subcommittee. Michael.
Yeah, I agree. I actually think it's a good text amendment, and I support it. And I think it makes sense personally to keep that short-term rental language in at the bottom. Because, yeah, I think like the I guess report says on DCP's website, the massive influx of new hotel units has sort of changed certain environments, and I think it's good to regulate them or just require, another step for developers to get a hotel approval. And at the same time, I think we should also, crack down on short-term rentals. So that's just my 2 cents.
Thank you, Michael. So I'm hearing most of the people want to keep the Airbnb clause, and then Steve, you still have a new hand? Okay, Herman.
Part of a devil advocate kind of stuff. Short-term rentals. That's why I'm want to specify that where the illegal short-term rentals come in, because a lot of people, seniors or so forth, that cannot afford to manage their space, short-term rentals for their homes is the only way of helping to pay costs and the rents and so forth. So if we're going to make a broad statement about short-term rentals, are we including those people with their own private houses and houses that, or even apartments that people actually live in if they are sharing a room to meet costs? Actually, also short-term rentals makes a lot of people visit this country that spend their money in other ways they cannot afford 400 and 500 or even 250 to stay at the at hotels in this in this area. Because I know most of the rents, the night rentals on in here is 250 an hour or something like that. So when we said illegal short-term rentals, are we talking about landlord-owned multifamily buildings? Or we are lumping, say for instance, if I want to rent a room to somebody who comes in here from Ecuador or someplace for 2 or 3 days that cannot afford $250 or $300 a night room.
I think the language says illegal short-term rentals, and that would exclude those who are legally doing Airbnb. I know some type of housing actually are allowed to do legal Airbnb, but like some type of housing are just not. Like for example, the rent stabilized units and some subsidized housing units, they are just illegal to do short-term rentals. So when we say illegal,
that's what I'm saying. Can we specify what we're talking about? Because it would be illegal for me to rent Airbnb if especially since you put Airbnb. And if I have an extra room, I would be doing Airbnb. Would that be considered illegal?
I think sorry to interrupt, it already is illegal according to the New York State multiple dwellings law with 3 or more units. I think even if you live in or own the unit, it's already illegal, and that's not what this is it a text amendment?
Mm-hmm.
Text amendment is about. So, you know, I understand what Herman's saying, but it's already illegal, and so I think it's not necessarily germane to what this text amendment specifically is about.
other committee members, any other committee members has comment? I think we already said we are talking about illegal short-term rentals, and the definition of illegal short-term rentals, I think like people can find out themselves because certain things are illegal, certain rentals, certain Airbnb are legal. Like Mike said, if you are fewer than 3 units, you're actually legal to do Airbnb, and then you are legal. But then for those who are illegal, like about 3 units, then you are doing illegal things. So I think it should be okay. We keep the language as is, unless other, yeah, I mean, unless other committee members wants to modify the language. Okay, so next I want to go back to Mike. Mike wanted to support this text amendment. I wanted to know if anyone opposes it. So no one opposes. So I would just assume we're going to approve it with conditions. Are all committee members okay with that? Approve with conditions. Okay. So next is that we go back to this second highlight, the first point, the first there for the resolve clause I draft. Do we want to keep it or we want to modify the language? I have a feeling that I want to. I like the restriction, this restriction plan as well, but I just feel like I don't want the plan to be too much damage the hotel industry in the future, because I'm seeing, I mean, I keep thinking about the supply and demand thing. If we are not allowing hotel to grow, then we just, push the whole demand to the Airbnb business. That's just what I feel as well. So I just feel like if there are some sort of mitigation, I mean, I don't know what kind of policy mitigation that could be, but I just feel like I want them to, review it and then think about the socioeconomic impact in the future. I mean, like you said, it may not be DCP or other, but then Lisa is also right. The city can do what they want to do. I don't know if other committee members have any comments on that or want to change the language.
Sorry, what paragraph is this referencing?
This one, the first therefore, the one we talked about before.
Got it, thanks.
I just don't think it's really related to the text amendment.
Yeah.
I mean, if you felt strongly about it, I guess we could put it as a whereas or something, saying, although we have concerns about the law, I don't know.
I see more people are nodding their heads. So I see Steve, Linda, and Lisa seems to be on the same page on that.
I don't know. I don't see how that fits in there. So
I'm sorry, Herman, what did you say?
I don't see how that fits in the text amendment.
Okay, so if we have more committee members wants to take away, then we take it away.
Should I delete it?
Yes.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Matthew, maybe you can comment. Jackie is clearly worried about having too much restriction and not having enough hotel rooms at some time in the future when they're needed. Is there something about this text amendment that would keep you from approving more permits in that situation?
So that's really not the reason for the impact. The reason for the impact is that the special permit process delays construction by 1.5 years. And so it just, because it's slowing down, it doesn't matter if we approve every single special permit that comes through, that impact will still exist.
I see.
Michael?
Yeah, so I just, in my opinion, the math there on that last whereas, how do I say this? Like it says on DCP's website, the number of approval of hotel units has skyrocketed recently. And the reason that this was proposed is to sort of help in certain neighborhoods where huge hotels have come in and it sort of disrupted, as it says, the environment. And so in my opinion, hotel developers aren't entitled to, unlimited economic growth. And so just because recently they've had a huge increase in those numbers, I mean, I understand that's like what the EIS said, those 20,000 fewer jobs and such, but at some point, any industry, especially in the development industry, could say, well, we've had this huge growth and now with these permits you're requiring or these regulations, it's going to hinder that growth. And I think, I just think we should be careful with saying that, like, those numbers are the reason that we should not require special permits for hotels at all, because like it says on the website, there's a reason why the special permit citywide is being proposed, and that's because of communities' concerns with hotel development. So, I mean, I'm not saying we should strike that part because it's obviously from the EIS, but to me, that doesn't mean that we should vote against a citywide hotel special permit. Again, that's just my 2 cents.
No, we are voting for the special permits. We already agreed to vote for this. We are going to approve it with conditions, but I'm seeing more committee members don't want to keep this paragraph. That's what I'm saying, and which is okay because we always have different opinions about certain things. And if I see the majority, then we go with the majority. So I don't think we should spend more time on this. Lisa, can you just remove it?
Yes.
And then Lisa, can you add a language, like a sentence saying that CP3 recommend to approve this text amendment with following condition? And the condition is that Airbnb clause.
Oops, they do. What is the condition? I'm sorry.
The condition is the Airbnb clause. We are keeping the second clause. The second, therefore,
Oh.
be resolved.
Oh, okay, so. Is that what you're looking for?
Yes. You know what's so funny? I was looking at my own document files, and I was like, "Where is Lisa's change?" And then I was actually not looking at your at the screen, your screen. I mean, all right, thank you. So I think I don't think we need to read that again. And this actually, can you go back a little bit, Lisa?
Sure.
If we are not keeping that 20, if we are not keeping the first whereas clause, then we may not need the whereas clause I added earlier. According to, right? Because if we are not doing like a review, right?
This one.
Right, this one, we may not need it.
Yeah, I'd be okay with taking that out.
Yeah, I mean, if we are not doing the whereas clause, so I don't see why we need this one. Okay, so everyone okay with that? Okay, I see no. So we don't need to do a roll calling right now. We can do the roll calling to approve it with the DNS and the final roll call together.
Okay, so should I stop sharing my screen?
Yes.
I don't really know how to do that.
We are also going
stop share.
to,
There it goes.
well, actually, Lisa, we also need to do the DNS, so you may need to share your screen again.
Okay, let me get that up so I
Okay.
don't make the same mistake the last time as the last time.
Because I don't want to see your private emails.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lisa. And I think, Steve, what you put in the chat box, I think Mike said that if you do Airbnb in buildings that is over like 3 and more than 3 units, you are already illegal, regardless whether you like how long you rent the unit and or you live in the building. 3 units is also a
Yeah, I left that info out when I published that in the chat.
But there's also what it says about the fact that you cannot lease a place less than 30 days. So if you make up a lease for 30 days, that's not illegal.
Right. So I guess you really can, I mean, most of the Airbnb would be in Brooklyn and Queens. And for economic consideration may not happen in Staten Island because it's a little bit far from the city.
I think it's still, it's allowed if you stay in the unit, even if you're in a 20-person apartment building, if you are staying in the unit and you rent out, I think like a bedroom, I believe it's still allowed, but you have to remain in the unit. You can't have them rent out the full apartment as like a private apartment.
And you still
Yes,
cannot
that's
do that
correct.
And you still cannot do that in rent-regulated housing, right? Like
Yeah, not
subsidized housing. Okay.
affordable, rent regulated, public housing, things like that. Supportive housing.
Lisa, can you pull up the DNS?
Mm-hmm. I think, where did I put it? Yeah, here it is.
Thank you, Lisa. So Jim updated the DNS before he left the office, and I mean I already missed Jim, and I did not make any change to the file I sent you. So do we want to go over them one by one, and then to see if we are all okay with it? Susan is also here. Susan, you have any comments about the DNS? Susan? Well, I guess she has no comments. Then we just move
I
on.
had just a couple of, I don't know whether we need to go over all of these.
Mhm. I mean, I have a little comments I want to talk about, but Lisa, what is your, have
Yeah, I think there's a typo here.
Okay.
In addition, the home ownership rate in CD3 is 10.8%, which ranks 48 out of 50 community districts. It says in CD3. I think they mean out of 51 community districts in New York City, right?
Yes, yes, I'm sorry. If you could make any changes as track changes, we'll copy them to the base document.
And the other one, I think there was one other one I caught. Oh, here at the bottom. Several developments in CB3 have been discussed as possible sites for implementation of these programs, because they're now 3 programs, not 2, rather than both. They talk about PACT, RAD, and Blueprint for Change as 3 different.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Lisa. And Lisa, can you go back to the first changes you made? The one you made, the first change you made, that the one talk about affordable ownership. Yes. So I want to ask the committee members' opinion. So this paragraph talks about the need to expand affordable home ownership opportunities like the kind seen in previous decades with programs like Metro Lama. I always thought that Metro Lama, like when they ranked, when Furman Center ranked as the 48th home ownership out of 51st community district, I wonder if Metro Lama housings are considered home ownership. I mean, it is a type of limited equity housing.
They are.
Well, some are rentals and some are co-ops.
I understand that. I understand that some are rentals, some are co-op. But like when they like take into the consideration of home ownership, I always thought that like you are talking about marketable, tradable, and then Metro Lama, even limited equity Metro Lama, they still not tradable or marketable, and like compared to HDFC or other type of limited equity housings or affordable condo in Essex Crossing. That to me seems to be like HDFC or affordable condo in Essex Crossing to me seems to be more about like affordable ownership. We are talking about a Metro Lama. I just don't know if that, I mean, to me, that seems to be more like a regulated housing, even though technically they're still limited equity housing.
I think you're making your own definitions.
All right.
Yeah, Jackie, can you explain? Excuse me, can you explain what you mean?
Like when you talk about affordable home ownership, I feel like you are talking about HDFC units. You are talking about affordable condo, and that allows the owners to build equity. It's tradable, it's marketable. You can sell it to somebody else. But Metro Lama is, I mean, it is a type of limited equity housing, but then it is home ownership, but it's not really you can sell to some other people, outsiders, you have to sell back to the co-op, the Mutual Lama co-op. And the Mutual Lama co-op, I mean, when they go through privatization, they become like actual market rate co-op. Otherwise, they seems to be like regulated housing to me. That's why, like when I see that homeownership rate in our community, I wonder if they take Mutual Lama as home ownership or take it as rental, because it could be treated in practical.
The co-ops are ownership.
Yeah.
So
Either way, whether they're Mitalama or any other form of regulated ownership, they still count as home ownership.
okay, all right. So that is just like a question I have, like when they count them, how do they count them? Because to me, it seems like more like a rent regulated type.
It's ownership.
Okay. I mean, other than that, I don't have any comments about the DNS. Susan, you have a hand?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was commenting on the co-ops. What you're bringing in is a profit motive, and I don't think profit has to do with home ownership.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so other committee members, do you have any questions or comments about the DNS? If not, then I'll just take it as everyone agrees to the languages in the DNS, and then we're just gonna vote together.
We're
later.
not voting. We're not voting. We're voting in October together. We want to finalize it now,
right.
and we're voting in October with the budget
Okay,
priority.
priority. Thank you, Susan. Thank you for the clarification.
It's confusing.
Okay, all right. So do we have any other questions, comments? No?
I just want to make a clarification that not all HDFCs are co-ops, okay?
Yeah, you're right. Right, you're right. Not all HDFC are co-ops, right?
There's rentals and there are HDFCs as a method of ownership only because HPD determines that the only way a community group could develop a series of housing depends on the funding is put them under the Housing Development Fund Corporation Article 11. So
yeah, I mean, one of the HDFC I used to manage was a senior housing, and that is a rental. Yes, that is actually federally subsidized rental. You are right. Not all HDFC are ownerships. Yes.
it's just the method in which the city of New York used that vehicle to develop housing that it has an interest in or supposed to have an interest in.
Okay, right. All right.
I just have.
Oh, Steve, I'm sorry. You go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I just had a question. I see this figure under the city's Housing New York plan. There were 1,071 new affordable housing units starts in CB3 between 2014 and 2020. I'm wondering, I would love to see a breakdown of that because I'm sure that would include, well, it must include some Essex Crossing or most of it, but it does seem like that's a lot of units, and I just don't, I'm wondering if it also includes renovation of units or if it's all new. It says new. So is it all new construction?
Lisa, if you can scroll down.
No, it's right here.
No, I
Yeah,
know.
it's right
There's
there
a
on that page.
annotation number 5. I want to see,
Oh, I see.
I want to know, like, what is that annotation about?
Gotcha.
Housing units by building. So it looks like it is a HPD information and resource.
All right. Does the community board have that in their office, or I mean?
No.
Together.
No, we do research. No, it's all research, but not in stuff in our office.
All right.
I'm sure it's online.
Yeah, I'm sure that's how we got it.
Okay. I'll just look at that.
Any other questions, comments? If no, then we are going to adjourn the meeting and then vote on the hotel tax amendment as well. So Lisa,
You want me, so what, are we voting on anything? I'm not clear, or
we
are
are
we
voting. We are voting.
voting to
We are
approve
voting to
that?
adjourn the meeting and also the hotel tax amendment.
Got it.
Thank you, Lisa.
Okay, so this will be a yes or no vote from Jackie Wong,
Yes,
Linda Jones. Linda, are you on mute?
Linda is muted.
Different way. Yes.
Thank you. Michael Perlis,
Yes, thanks.
Jonathan Chu is still not here, correct?
Uh,
Here, not here.
Herman,
Yes.
Trevor is still not here.
Not here.
Lisa, yes. Olympia is still not here. Damaris still not here. Troy Velez not here. Steve.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Thank
a
you.
motion to
Thank
adjourn.
you. And thank you, the new members joining our land use meeting tonight. I'm trying to see their names. Thank you. Then Canal, and also Jeanette. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Okay, good night. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, bye.
Bye.
Everybody take